Hello, everyone. Welcome to Online Seller UK podcast. My name is Prabhat, founder at Online Seller UK, and today we'll be talking about really interesting topic, and it's about saving money. It's about increasing your margin. It's about um, why and how is Amazon sellers paying overpaying the VAT and so on. So I'm joined by really experienced in this field. So I'm joined by Daniel. Daniel from Links My Books. So welcome to our podcast, Daniel.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Prabhat.
Excellent.
Nice to be.
So yeah, absolutely. So pleasure. So yes, let's start with your introduction, your company's introduction, and we can take it from there.
Yeah. So I'm Daniel Little, CEO and co-founder of Link My Books. We started Link My Books back in 2017. At that time, I was just exiting my own Amazon business. So I've actually had two Amazon businesses prior to this, scaled the first one up to 6 figures and sold that, used the cash from that to then scale up the second one to 7 figures and then sold that, and then decided to get into the software as a service side of things. So that's where we started Link My Books. My business partner, Pete, is from a similar background. He's a software developer by trade, ex-Amazon seller as well. And the rest of our team is made up of e-commerce accountants.
Okay, excellent. So there is lots of experience going on to the software from Amazon side, from e-commerce side as well. So, okay, and VAT is a very complicated topic, and certainly I try to avoid it every time I see that subject in terms of doing it. So get somebody else to look at that. So I'm glad people like yourself is helping online sellers. So let's start with how are sellers overpaying VAT?
Yeah, it's a good question. So there's various ways, basically, if you look at a UK business who's selling on Amazon, that they can end up overpaying VAT. And we have personal experience of working with thousands of Amazon sellers. I think we've had like 8,000 through the door so far. So we see this day in, day out. And we find that upwards of 75% of them are overpaying VAT in some form. And the main 2 or 3 reasons are that they're just not separating their sales out correctly is the main, first and foremost. So there's this sort of misconception that when you sell on Amazon.co.uk, that all of your sales are going to UK customers. And that's just simply not true. So Amazon has this program called the Global Shipping Program. So unless you categorically opt out of that, then even if you are shipping your goods into Amazon UK and you're only listing them on the UK marketplace, then Amazon will be fulfilling them to everywhere in the world, into the EU and also beyond, like USA, etc. And so if you're not separating those sales out, then you are basically overpaying VAT, because Amazon will not be charging any UK VAT to the consumer that's outside of the UK. Therefore, they're only actually paying you the net amount, and therefore you should not be accounting for any VAT on those. So that's sort of the first one. The second one is similar to this, again, to do with separating out sales. And it's to do with the rules that came in after Brexit transition period ending in 2021. And that's to do with Amazon is now responsible for collecting the VAT on certain sales where they meet certain criteria. And so if you're not separating those out, again, you're overpaying VAT, because Amazon has passed that to HMRC, and therefore you don't need to as well. And then the third way is the third most popular way, I suppose, to put this. There's many ways that we've seen this, but the third way is around fees. So a lot of people sort of know that there's no VAT on Amazon fees because they're based in Luxembourg and all their invoices come from Luxembourg. But again, that's sort of a common misconception. Most fees are billed from Amazon's Luxembourg entity. However, the Amazon.co.uk sponsored ads, for example, they are billed from Amazon Marketing UK Limited with a GB VAT number, and therefore they are applying 20% VAT to those fees. So if you are using sponsored ads and you're just accounting for those fees as no VAT or reverse charge, which is what they should be, then you'll end up overpaying. You'll end up underclaiming the VAT back, because you should be accounting for 20% on those fees. So there's various reasons, but they are what I would say would be the main 3.
Yeah, so it's a good point, and some of these things I think sellers are so busy to think about growing the business. It's very common to not see these, and that's why we have got accountant to deal with the issue. So I think it's accountants should look after these problems, don't they?
Well, It's tricky because there's lots of great accountants out there that really do sort of understand e-commerce and they know these ins and outs. And when they do, they'll typically use a tool like Link My Books to automate the bookkeeping side of things to make sure that the correct tax rates are being applied to all the sales and all the fees so that the VAT is correct. And then their job becomes the value add services where they can go in and help you to work out like which of your products are doing the best and which of your marketplaces are doing the best, and be able to then help you to make good business decisions based on the data that has just been imported by Link My Books. Because at the end of the day, like downloading spreadsheets, downloading like reports from Amazon is not really part of the accountant's job. Getting the data into the bookkeeping system should be automated, in my opinion, at least. Obviously, I'm a bit biased. But I think there's also a handful of accountants out there who they only have like one or two e-commerce clients. So for example, when I started out my Amazon business, I went with just my local accountant who was like down the street from me. And I was their first Amazon client. And they admitted and put their hand up and said, like, listen, I'm not really 100% confident on this. But if you're just selling on Amazon's UK website, then you're probably okay. We'll just account for VAT on all your sales. And that's where this sort of like all started to span from, is that local accountants who don't fully understand e-commerce can often make mistakes. And that's why it's not just the sellers that we see that are making these mistakes. It's often as well the accountants that are making these mistakes. So it is key to choose an accountant who really does understand e-commerce. And incidentally, we have actually a directory internally, which is on the website as well, which sort of talks about who are the UK-based e-commerce accountants that we recommend. And they will all be using Link My Books anyway to automate the bookkeeping side of things.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing from you is I can go down to my local accountant and talk to him, but if I could suggest a tools like Links My Books, then it's problem solved, right?
Yeah, exactly. So even the local accountants that come to us who don't have a good understanding of e-commerce to begin with, when they start to see how Link My Books works, that can drastically change things because they can start to see that their clients are actually incurring taxes in other countries, or that they have sales that are going outside of the UK and therefore they don't need to be accounting for that on them. And they can help their clients to make decisions about expanding their business to make them a more profitable entity, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think so we've talked about Links My Books a few times here. So I think it's worth checking out how the tool itself works. Is it difficult to start with it? So do you want to talk a little bit on that?
Yeah. So effectively, what Link My Books does is it sits in between your sales channels like Amazon, but also Shopify, eBay, and Etsy, and then your bookkeeping platform like Xero or QuickBooks. So your accountancy platform is always going to be where you've got all of your accountant data, where your accountant then goes in at the end of the year and does your sort of end of year financials that get submitted to Companies House, and also your CT600 for HMRC for the tax side of things, and then your sort of quarterly VAT returns as well. So that's where the data is sort of always sitting. But the question always becomes, how do you get that information from the sales channels accurately into these bookkeeping platforms with as little work as possible? And that's where we sort of sit in between. So what Link My Books does is it hooks up to both of those sides. And then when a payout is happening from the likes of Amazon, we will go in and we will work out all the transactions that were included in that payout. We'll break them down by sales, refunds, fees, and all the taxes on those items will be accounted for correctly. And then we'll create a summary entry, which gets posted across to the bookkeeping platform so that the correct data is showing in your Xero or QuickBooks account. It feeds through to the VAT return correctly, and it's in your P&L correctly as well. So the accountant can then go in, or you can then go in and have a look at how your business is performing without having to manually import anything at all.
Okay, excellent. So that's VAT part sorted. Okay, well, looks like it's sorted with Links My Books. So another important question, I know it's not related with VAT, but very important question is finding out what margin we're getting on Amazon. So I know there are several tools out there which can find the margin and with the cost, but with Links My Books, with no understanding all the costs, and it brings up everything there. Does this tool help us understand the margin of product or margin overall and things like that? Does it?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, we are an automated bookkeeping solution. So we are sending data from the sales channels into your bookkeeping platform like Xero QuickBooks. And that's where all the financial data will sit. And as I said, that's what your accountant will be using for your VAT returns, your tax returns, etc.
Sure.
However, on top of that, we also have internally in the tool for each of the payouts you receive from a sales channel, we will show all that information visually as well. So we'll show you your total sales, your refunds as a ratio of your sales. We'll show you your cost of goods sold. We'll show you your profit. We'll show you profit margin. We'll show you return on investment. So all of that information is displayed directly inside of the app so that you can see on a payout basis what that looks like. Okay. And it also compares it against your previous payout from the same channel. So if you're in your Amazon account within Link My Books, for example, and you're selling on Amazon.co.uk and on Amazon.de Germany, then if you're looking at a UK payout, we'll compare it to the previous payout from the UK. If you're looking at a German one, we'll look at the previous one from Germany. And what that allows you to do is to have a look at things like your return ratio and see, is it up this payout? Is it down this payout? And have a look at the actual detailed information as to why. So we're working on building on that as well in terms of being able to not only see that data visually, but also to understand the underlying problems. So for example, with refund ratio, one of the things we're currently working on is pulling in the top refund reasons. So being able to then dive down and say, okay, so my refund ratio this month or this payout is up in Germany. And I can see that my top refund reasons are the product didn't fit the needs or whatever. And then you can dive into that a bit further and try and resolve that. So you can make a bit of an informed business decision as to how to improve your profitability.
Okay, right. It looks like there is lots of changes that are coming to the tool, which is all useful. So thank you again, Daniel, for your time today. I really appreciate you talking to us.
Yeah, no problem.
Before we end the podcast, so it's best if somebody is to want to talk to you about their business. Sometimes people have questions, even genuine questions. They don't understand VAT. So where is the best place to find you to call or to talk to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my email is daniel@linkmybooks.com. The general support team, which is manned by accountants in the UK, is support@linkmybooks.com. And then if you want to get started and jump in and have a trial of Link My Books, then you can just head over to linkmybooks.com and you can take out a free 14-day trial, connect up your Amazon account, connect up your bookkeeping account, and you can start to have a look at how this can all automate and have a look at the actual profit analytics directly inside of Link My Books as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Daniel, for your time today. I'll speak to you soon. All the best.
Yeah. See you.